Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today I'm going to talk about two main topics, my view on the Russia-Ukraine war and what the CCP's role is, as well as the misjudgment by the West in the past several decades. Then I will talk about the CCP's fifth investigation report regarding the chained woman and what the most terrifying and ridiculous aspect in that report is. In the end, I will play a video that can show that the chained woman is perfectly sane, as she knows very well who she is and how she is being treated. Before we go to our main topics, first, some sponsored content and a special offer.
You are not just watching a performance. You are witnessing a culture reborn. Now, you'll see what the modern world has never seen. China, before communism. Shen Yun 2022. Live on stage. Get tickets now at shenyun.com.
Well, I'll show you that Shen Yun performances are absolutely unique in the world and perhaps the number one. I have been covering Shen Yun's performance from 2007 when Shen Yun first toured the world to 2016 for a decade. As a reporter for NTD TV, Newtown Dynasty Television, I have also watched the show as an ordinary audience member every year. So over the years, I have watched Shen Yun numerous times and interviewed more people than I can count. It is impossible for me to express clearly how wonderful the performances have been and how deeply they have moved the audience. That is why I have written a series of 9 articles about my experiences watching Shen Yun. I really want to introduce it to everyone and let everyone benefit from it. This year, I'm very happy and honored to have the opportunity to do my part in promoting Shen Yun and to bring some practical benefits to my viewers at the same time. I will put a link to the Shen Yun ticketing website at the bottom of this video. This is a special page Shen Yun created for me. If you click on that link to buy tickets, that is shenyun.show/Jennifer-Zeng, shenyun.show/Jennifer.Zeng, and fill in the promo code JENZ to save on the handling fee. So again, the promotion code is JENZ. JEN are the first 3 letters of my name, Jennifer, and Z is the first letter of my last name, Zeng. So it's JENZ. I promise you, in a world of chaos and unhappiness, Shen Yun will bring you happiness and light of hope. I've watched it so many times, so I do know what I'm talking about. Okay, now let's go to our main topic today. First, about the Russian invasion of Ukraine has become the undoubtedly biggest news in the past 2 days. The past 2 years have been distressing enough for everyone, and now we have to deal with this war. So far, the performance of the United States and Europe has been very disappointing. But this is not surprising, as the world has come to this point already. And why has the world come to this point? It is very much related to the misjudgment and the wrong national policies of the West in the past few decades. Let's start with the most recent event. at the opening ceremony of the Beijing Winter Olympics. Since Putin was the only head of a major country to attend, he did a great favor for the CCP, as the CCP cares about saving its face so much. Therefore, Xi Jinping generously signed some 15 to 20 cooperation treaties with Russia. The total value should be in the range of 80 billion US dollars to 158 billion US dollars. And most importantly, the deals are settled in euros, not US dollars. The contract also stipulates that the CCP must invest in Russia's new Arctic project and make advance payments for Russia's oil exports to China for a total of about 150 billion to 200 billion US dollars. So in this case, the total value of the contracts could be more than 300 billion US dollars. During that time, it was also said that Putin and Xi Jinping had reached some kind of understanding that since Xi Jinping had given Putin so much big deals, Putin would return the favor by invading Ukraine only after the Winter Olympics, so as not to steal the spotlight of the Winter Olympics. At that time, many people thought it was a rumor, but now when we look back, we can see that this could really be what happened, as Putin actually waited until after the Winter Olympics to invade Ukraine. The New York Times reported today that senior officials from the Biden administration held 6 emergency meetings with senior CCP officials in the last 3 months, and that the US presented the Chinese side with information about Russia's military buildup in Ukraine and asked the CCP to dissuade Russia, but was refused. The CCP not only refused to stop Russia, but also told Russia about this, saying that the US was trying to sow discord and that China would not try to hinder Russia's plans and so on. So now it seems very clear that Russia had been planning this for a long time and was waiting to get enough money from the CCP to disable the West's economic sanctions. The US has already said that it will not intervene militarily. So as long as it can cope with economic sanctions, Russia doesn't have to worry about other things. In addition, on February 23rd, the day before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the General Administration of Customs of Communist China suddenly issued a notice on allowing the import of wheat from throughout Russia, allowing the import of Russian wheat. In the 1990s, the CCP banned the import of wheat from Russia because of the contamination problem, but suddenly allowed it the day before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Aren't the CCP's intention too obvious? If we look further back, after World War II, communism was the biggest common enemy of mankind, which did the most harm and is the most sinister. However, during the Cold War, the United States allied with the CCP in order to fight against the former Soviet Union. After the collapse of the Soviet Union and the communist camp at the end of the last century, the international community, in its excitement, overlooked the fact that the CCP had inherited the legacy of communism. Therefore, the West did not adjust its strategy in time, but continued to maintain the Cold War mentality. Hating Russia and embracing the CCP had been politically correct for a long time, and this attitude allowed the CCP to grow under the appeasement policy and the illusion that the CCP would change for the better. That's why the CCP has become the biggest threat to the free society today. In fact, Russia and Ukraine are both victims of communism and share a common culture. If the West had handled things properly, the situation should not have developed to this point today. Some Western countries, because of their own domestic political correctness, such as the so-called clean energy policy, have handed the rope to hand themselves into the hands of Russia. When the West should have handled things with flexibility, they unnecessarily showed hostility. When they should have handled things with very firm determination, they just could not act as a tough world leader. That's why today, with the support of the CCP, Putin can be so bold to defy the so-called Western powers in such an open manner. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, another big question is whether the CCP will follow this model to invade Taiwan. This morning, I saw a video in which a Chinese woman said that when she saw the Russian invasion of Ukraine, she felt like seeing the scene of China taking back Taiwan. She felt great. She felt so excited. Putin was a national hero as well as her god, etc. Although this is just the wishful thinking of a brainwashed fan of the CCP and Putin, the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the West performance in this crisis will undoubtedly give more courage to the CCP, increase the possibility of it making some stupid move, and add more uncertainties to the international situation. Of course, there's no comparison between Taiwan and Ukraine, and the CCP is now facing huge difficulties both inside and outside of China. Its economy is also in big trouble. Also, its army is very corrupt and may not be able to fight a tough war. So, Xi Jinping would not dare to act rashly, as his political enemies are trying very hard to bring him down at any time. However, the dictator's mind is sometimes different from that of a normal person, so it is necessary for Taiwan and the international community to be prepared for any possible CCP attacks. Next, I would like to talk about some of the latest developments in the chained woman case that we have been talking about a lot. On February 23rd, the investigation report from Jiangsu province came out. This is the fifth government report on this matter. What struck me most was that the report said that the woman in the marriage certificate was the chained woman in the video, but due to aging skin, hair degradation, changes in fatty tissue, and missing teeth, the person on the marriage certificate looked different from the one in the video, but they were indeed the same person. When I read this, I was so angry that I almost laughed. So I quickly tweeted that this report is an insult to anyone with an eye on his head. And the netizens feel the same, so the report immediately led to a photoshopping frenzy on the internet. Not only did people put the pictures of completely different looking women together, but they also added such a caption: they say they are the same person. They also put the pictures of the missing girl Li Ying and the chained woman together and added such a caption: they say these are not the same person. More people put together photos of two people who did not resemble each other at all and claimed that they were the same person looking differently only because they had aged. The funniest picture is this one, where someone put a picture of President Trump and a cone together and claimed that it was the same person. To be honest, if you look at the hair alone, it seems that the similarity in the looks between President Trump and this cone is even greater than that between the woman in the marriage certificate and the woman who was chained, right? When I read the report more carefully, I realized more horrors it concealed. First, it refers to Dong Zhiming as the husband of the chained woman. Secondly, it defines Dong Zhiming's crime as suspected abuse of a family member. Its text goes like this. Since 2017, Dong has abused Yang Moxia by tying her with close ropes, chaining her neck when she was ill, and not sending her to the doctor for treatment. Why is this horrible? Although the investigation report also recognized the chained woman was trafficked. Because her name was on the marriage certificate, the official ascertained that Dong Zhiming was her husband. His crime of chaining her was referred to as abuse of a family member. Another important issue is that although the CCP admits the fact that the chained woman was abducted, the person who bought her was Dong Zhiming's father, who is now dead. So there's no way to pursue the crime of human trafficking, as Dong Zhiming's crime is only abuse of a family member because his father had bought this woman, not he. At the end of the report, it was mentioned that 17 officials were punished. The highest level of these officials is the party secretary of Feng County. The lowest level is the former director of Villagers Committee of the village. And the most serious punishment for them is expulsion from the party and dismissal from official positions. And the least serious is just a warning from the party. No mention of human trafficking at all. No officials were punished for human trafficking. This result is more or less what I expected. I said before that the so-called investigation would be just a process of weighing which level of officials to throw out in order to calm down the public, and there was not much hope for anything else. However, I had again underestimated the CCP's shamelessness. I didn't expect that it would legalize the marriage between a rapist and a trafficked woman, even when the marriage certificate was a fake one. Time and again, we underestimated the shamelessness of the CCP. Before and after the report was released, the CCP has been blocking any more discussion about this matter on the whole internet. It was obvious that they wanted to use this report as the final verdict, not to allow the public to discuss it or seek the truth anymore. This means the CCP wants to cover up large-scale human trafficking and other crimes such as prolonged rape and abuse and the chaining of women's necks. When the public was actively pursuing the truth about the chained woman, I saw some people commenting online that the chained woman was an angel, that she had come to give the Chinese people a chance to redeem their souls, and that the process of speaking out for her was the process of the nation's self-redemption, and so on. I think these comments are very reasonable. Her suffering has awakened kindness in the hearts of so many people, and so many people gained the courage to speak out. This kind of situation should have become a good opportunity to induce a process of self-redemption for all people. But unfortunately, The CCP does not allow the public to seek the truth on their own, and there is always only one truth in China. Only what the CCP allows is the truth. As for justice, fairness, law, etc., they are not what the CCP pursues anyway. They are only used by the CCP for window dressing and deceiving the public. So the CCP has lost the opportunity to reconcile with the public again and again. It only uses the arrogance of power and the power of arrogance to silence all voices of doubt. How long can the CCP sustain such forms of high pressure? I think at this point, the CCP itself is also less and less confident in this. Lastly, I would like to show you a video which I already played on February 1st when I first reported this issue. But at that time, nobody understood what she was saying. Later, some netizens worked out what she said, so I added new Chinese and English subtitles. At the end of this video, she was stamping her feet and saying, "I'm treated like a prostitute. She repeated the word prostitute 3 times, and she said it very fast, as if she was very impatient that nobody had understood her already. In the end, she begged the man who visited her to stay. From the very few videos we have seen so far, it is clear that she has a very fierce temperament as well as a clear mind. After more than 20 years of imprisonment and torture, with her mouth full of teeth poured out, she has not given in. She was still accusing those men of rape whenever she had the opportunity. I think that's why the CCP dares not release her. That's also why the CCP hasn't successfully made her do a televised confession like tennis star Peng Shuai. From this point of view, she is tougher and more fierce than Peng Shuai. Now let me play the video.
你能不能我这样说话，你能不能听懂？姑姑，我跟你说话能听懂吧？不能。是不是？是不是能听懂一点呢？我跟你说话。不能是吧？不能把这筷子放下，这个饭还能吃吧？扔放上吧，好吧？扔，我给你拉上，好吧？是吧？饿了吗？今天我先说一下，慢慢吃，慢慢吃，还有好多呢，还有好多呢，慢慢吃。坐下吃也可以，你坐下吃，坐下，坐在床上吃，坐在你的床上吃。喝水吧？不喝是吧？不喝水。喝点水吧，我给你弄点倒点水。
阿哥，我就几年吃你，几年了，我跟你几年呀，我哥。
我吃吧。
这是你留的。
好，吃吧。
Well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share my videos, and leave your comments. Thank you, and see you next time.